Greetings, folks. Ealer here. Today's match is courtesy of Lyn Wilke, whom I've featured on the channel several times. In fact, Lyn has been quite prominent in the channel as of late. And Lyn knows my affinity for close matches with good tactics, come from behind wins, and he sent over this replay as a good example. This is himself in the premium Tier 9 Japanese battleship, the Musashi, and Lyn is divisioned with two other Tier 9 ships. We have Schepker in the premium Tier 9 U.S. Navy battleship, the USS Georgia, and Killdare in the U.S. Navy light cruiser, the USS Seattle. Now, this is a Tier 9 domination match on Warrior's Path. There is no aircraft carrier, which definitely helps Lyn out because the Musashi tends to have pretty crappy AA. And Lyn's build is kind of an interesting blend. This is Yamamoto from his Yamato, and he has both BFT and AFT, which the Euro fanboys out there will point out. Euro expressly says to not take on the Musashi, although again, this is a shared commander from the Yamato, where BFT and AFT can definitely help both the secondaries and AA. And also this commander is very good on the Key, the premium Tier 8 Japanese battleship, which has very good AA for a Tier 8 battleship, and so BFT AFT is definitely useful on that ship. So again, this is a shared commander, and the BFT and AFT combination really isn't going to help the AA, but it is kind of useful for the secondaries. One other observation for Lyn's build, he takes the main battery modification 2 upgrade in slot 3, which I generally discourage people from taking because it impacts the reload time, negatively impacts it. But Lyn knows that the Musashi has very, very slow turret traverse, very glacial, and because he takes the main battery modification 3 upgrade in slot 6 to get faster reload on the guns, and even with the buffed expert marksman skill from Yamamoto, the turrets are still really, really slow. So taking main battery modification 2 might not be a bad choice, so that you have an easier time keeping your guns on target. You may lose more time just trying to keep your guns where they should be than the actual impact of the reduced reload time. So kind of an interesting choice. Now, one other housekeeping item before we get to the replay, or to the gameplay, I should say. I would welcome input from someone who speaks Japanese about my pronunciation of Musashi. I am of the understanding from my language research that Japanese is generally a stressless language. So whereas most English speakers tend to say Musashi, the pronunciation I understand is probably closer to Musashi, where basically there's no stress on any syllable. I did get chastised by a player, or a commentator, I should say, in one of my videos about how I pronounced the name Musashi. And so I'd welcome any feedback from someone who speaks Japanese to offer some guidance or input on the proper pronunciation of this ship name. So with that housekeeping out of the way, we'll go ahead and get to the gameplay. Now, Lyn and his division, along with some other ships, have come to the Alpha Cap to look to obviously try to take that cap. The opposing team has moved in and is taking it. They have at least 2 ships in. Lyn gets a nice citadel on that broadside Musashi, or opposing Musashi. Oh, in fact, Angry Ace has reminded me to stop saying opposing. So it's obvious that he's shooting at opposing ships. So it's going to take a while for Lyn's team to get a handle on the Alpha Cap. Now, on the opposite side of the map at Charlie, the team has taken Charlie quite handedly. The opposing team has taken Bravo without being contested at all. So that is going to have a significant impact on how this game gets played out, because the opposition has taken 2 caps and is going to get some significant point advantage. Even though that the opposition has lost 1 ship already, they are going to get the upper hand on the points here pretty quickly because they control 2 caps. And it's going to take a little while or actually quite a while, for Lyn's flank to sort of push through here. In fact, the Allies have just lost their Jutland over here. Actually, I think that may have been at the Charlie Cap. So things are not starting off real well here. And the title of the video is intended to be a reflection of the sort of very slow, steady pace that Lyn and his teammates here at Alpha are going to be taking to try to wear down their opponents so that they can push in, take Bravo, and look to get a handle on the west flank. Now the Jervis here on Lyn's starboard side continues to torp from behind, which is probably a little bit annoying. The Jervis, I can understand to some extent why he's not closer to the cap, because there is the Alaska here that Lyn is firing upon and is trying to get down. That was a pretty nice hit with the Alaska turning away. And so Lyn is going to do the traditional bow tanking thing. He has to be careful here not to push in too aggressively, because he doesn't want to put himself in a crossfire between the Musashi and the Missouri. And in fact, now you can see the Yugumo here on his port side. So Lyn's in a pretty dangerous situation right here. Now, Lyn was telling me that at the time he was at this position, he was afraid that the Musashi here was actually going to try to ram him. But the Musashi is actually going to make a turn here to port, and he's just basically going to expose his citadel for Lyn. Now, this may be a place where having the main battery modification 2 upgrade in slot 3 is helping him to keep his turrets on track so that he can get this shot off and finish off the Musashi. Now, Lyn's got to turn back the other to port to keep his bow on the Missouri so that he doesn't get punished in the same way that Lyn just punished the Musashi. So he's going to be very slowly creeping over here. He also has the advantage now that he's got the island between himself and the Missouri. There, Lyn takes a pretty sizable hit from the Missouri. I'm not sure whether a citadel was involved there, but Lyn is just going to sort of wear down the Missouri. His allies with Schepker in the Georgia is going to attempt to flank the Missouri on the Missouri's starboard side. So this is going to be the Lyn's port side. The risk here is, I think, is also the Yugumo. Now the Yugumo, we know since he dropped smoke, we know that he's not he's not a reload destroyer, and he just sent at least one set, if not both sets already. And here you can see that Schepker is getting in a flanking position on the Missouri, and between Lyn's work and Schepker's, they're going to be able to wear down this Missouri. We've got Killdare in the Seattle immediately following behind. This is pretty much exactly, well, mostly how it should work. It would be very good if the Jervis that is behind this column was a little more forward, helping to combat the Yugumo. But other than that, having the battleships pushing the flank with cruisers following behind to provide supporting artillery fire, AA, radar, and so forth, this is a very effective way to do things. Now, Killdare does get the kill on the Yugumo. That's excellent. And the Missouri here is just about to go down. There, I think we saw some very wonky dispersion from Lyn's guns, but Schepker, I think, is going to get the kill here on the Missouri. Lyn's going to start making his way towards Bravo. At this point, Lyn's should be pretty confident. Oh, in fact, it's the Alsace that gets the kill. But Lyn was confident in making that turn, I think, because the Missouri was just about to go down. We're going to take the Alpha cap here, and then we're going to be moving towards Bravo. Now, looking at the overall tactical situation, the opposition has clearly taken Charlie. They've completely overrun the east flank. There is a single Atago, allied Atago, up on the Bravo line. I don't know whether he's firing or he's just trying to keep things spotted and use sort of stealth torping that the Atago can do in order to try to slow the advance of the flank pushing up from Charlie. Lyn has got a pretty clear shot here on the Lyon. I don't remember how good of a hit he gets on the Lyon here. Just a couple of shells on with one penetrating hit. So it's quite urgent at this point. In fact, the Allies have taken Bravo. And one other ship that I should call out here on Lyn's team is the Udaloy. And the Udaloy is doing an exceptional job to help manage center map control or establish center map control. And in fact, this will be reflected in his XP at the end of the game. He is being very instrumental in how this game turns out, and he's helping to contain the opposition from being able to retake Bravo. So Lyn is in kind of a sprint here to get to Bravo and keep the opposition from pushing it back into Bravo and sort of reestablishing dominating control. Now, looking at the point score, the Allies are actually down because, again, they haven't held two caps for very long. There we see the Błyskawica on the other team. In fact, the Błyskawica is doing a really good job for his team as well. He's going to keep the pressure on Lyn's destroyers to try to get. In fact, I think the Błyskawica gets the Shiratsuyu down as well. So Lyn is looking to get into the center of the map. We know where both of the remaining destroyers are, the Sims and the Błyskawica. And as I mentioned, the Błyskawica does take down the Shiratsuyu. So we have to, keep an eye on, or Lyn has to keep an eye on where those destroyers are so that he doesn't blunder into taking too many torpedoes. Lyn's going to move into the middle here and basically act as hopefully a bullet sponge for his allies. And also basically just his presence and his domination can help sort of with controlling the middle as well. You see the Lyon here in the middle of the cap. Not sure what the Lyon's planning to do. I think Lyn was hoping to get another good shot on the Iowa here on his starboard side around his 2 o'clock position, because the Iowa is actually quite broadside to him, but the island's going to be in the way. Lyn's turned his guns to the Baltimore. And again, I think this is a little bit of a reflection, both of obviously Lyn turning his ship, but also Lyn being able to use the main battery modification 2 upgrade is helping him to keep his guns on target and go after targets of opportunity with a little more ease. We do see a smoke screen from one of the either the Sims or the Błyskawica on his port side at around his 10 o'clock position. So Lyn is slowed here in anticipation of torpedoes. The Lyon here is making a broadside turn, and this is, well, probably a pretty fatal move. In fact, it will end up being fatal for the Lyon. Lyn takes out the Lyon, earns himself high caliber. But the Allies are still down on points. In fact, here come the torpedoes from the Sims. Lyn's going to end up taking 2. Now, fortunately, these Sims, which carry the 10.5 kilometer torpedoes, they reload very fast, and they're great for area control because they are so long range, but they're pretty slow and the alpha is low. So Lyn didn't take too much damage from the torpedoes, and he's going to want to turn away here because he knows how quickly the Sims can reload his torpedoes. Lyn doesn't want to end up eating any more as soon as he can, in the near future, I should say. So you see some torpedoes from the Udaloy, from Lyn's Udaloy that has been sent into the smoke, and that actually does push the Sims out of his smoke, and Lyn is going to get a few shells on the Sims, drive the Sims off. There is Confederate. So again, the Allied team is still down. They have a 1-ship advantage, but they're still down on points. And the opposition is doing a good job keeping that center cap at least contested so that Lyn's team isn't getting any points from there. The Lyn's going to rotate here and in fact, he's going to try to get his rear guns on the Monarch, which is in Bravo, and then look to get his front guns on the Iowa. The Udaloy gets a torpedo on the Monarch. Again, this is a reflection that this Udaloy is really doing an excellent job helping with maintaining center map control. Lyn does get a Citadel hit on the Monarch, finishes off the Monarch for his 3rd kill, and he's going to send out some shells here on the Iowa. He isn't going to quite get the Iowa down with this salvo. He's going to need to wait till the next salvo to finish him off. Just gets a couple of shells in. But as you can see now, the Allied team with a 2-ship advantage now definitively control 2 caps. They are going to take the point lead here in just a moment as soon as Lyn takes down this Iowa, which will be happen with this salvo right here. So with that, Lyn's team has established clear, unequivocal control of the game and a great come from behind win, where the opposition did a really good job on one flank. Lyn's team did a really good job, very controlled pace, pushing through the Alpha cap, and now came back into Bravo to establish center map control. Again, a big shout out to the allied Udaloy. He did a really excellent job helping with sort of controlling things in the mid. He has enough health and he has the gunfire to be able to combat both the Bliskovitsa and the Sims should he run into them. But the Udaloy has run off to go get the Charlie cap. So that will basically act as insurance to ensure the win happens, so that even when this Atago goes down, the allied Atago from the Bliskovitsa, Lyn's team will be assured the win, because the opposition won't have time to get enough caps back to win the game. Lyn's going to get some shells out here on the Sims. He's up to well over 200,000 in damage. There goes the Atago. The Bliskovitsa, again, a really good job for a tier 7 destroyer in a tier 9 game. This is a really tough job for him to do. But he does get the Atago down, and Lyn is has gotten a couple of shells on the Sims. Now the Sims is going to go off detection here, but the Sims is detected at 6.6 kilometers, and he was coming back toward Lyn. Lyn does light him up again, and with this shot, he gets his Kraken unleashed, and there goes the fireworks from the Yamamoto commander. And so now Lyn has an absurdly low reload rate between the buff that Yamamoto gets for getting the Kraken, which I think is a 20% reduction in main battery reload, as well as the adrenaline rush. Lyn is going to be able to get off a few salvos here. Now this Bliskovitsa is going to be very crafty and trying to avoid shells coming in from multiple directions, and it's just going to be a matter of time, though, that people get enough shells on the Bliskovitsa and finish off the last opponent. So really good job by members of both teams. For this is a really well fought battle. Excellent job Lyn and his allies, especially in his division, Schepker and Killdare, for helping to bring about the win here. And now it's just a question of whether Lyn is going to be able to get a 6th kill in this match. Another salvo out, but it's actually going to be the shells from the Alsace that's going to get the Bliskovitsa. So almost 213,000 in damage, high caliber Confederate Kraken unleashed. Excellent job, Lyn. Almost 2,500 base XP. So thank you very much, Lyn, for sharing. I hope everybody here enjoyed the replay and the commentary. Again, I mentioned the Udaloy, second on the team with over 2,000 base XP. Really well done. Hope everybody enjoyed the replay and the commentary. Please do leave your comments below. And as always, we hope to see you out there, and we wish you happy sailing.